I have been trying unsuccessfully to deliver this information to you for months. The return that billions of you are anticipating has already taken place in the form of the mass awakening underway, but also in the form of an actual return. I'm sorry it doesn't look the way you wanted, but that was intentional, and it's actually a really big part of this story. They made sure that the people who were expecting it wouldn't recognize it, and that the people who recognized it will be too traumatized by religion to recognize the significance. And if you think that's bad, they also lied to you about salvation. The crucifixion was an execution rebranded years later as salvation. The consensus among biblical scholars is that it was an execution, and that means everybody who's looked into it agrees it was an execution. Your entire book is about the balance of awareness and agency. Acting with awareness. Cain and Abel, awareness and agency. Abel represents awareness without power. Cain represents power without awareness. Sin, agency, acting without awareness. The etymology of the word sin is literally to miss the target. Sin does not mean evil. Sin references error caused by acting before seeing. Agency deployed without sufficient awareness. It is literally what the whole book is about. The Bible is a long warning against scaling agency faster than awareness. So the people that lied to you about crucifixion and salvation also lied to you about sin. Sin is not about obedience or rebellion. It is about a lack of awareness. Examples of that would be supporting governments and leadership, committing crimes against humanity, our brothers and sisters, our neighbors. In the code, love is accountability, awareness. So in order to love our neighbors, we are accountable for what is being done to them. To gain that perspective, to gain that awareness, and to allow revelations to occur, you would have to have the capacity to see, the courage to face what's seen. You would have to seek perspectives outside the ones you currently hold and challenge your belief systems. And then you would have to have the ethics to act. The works Jesus talks about that you're going to be judged on, that's the acting once you have the awareness. In addition to that, you would have to have someone and something capable of underwriting the thing. Because according to the code and to anyone with eyes and ears, the system is a narcissist. The beast is narcissistic in nature, which means it wants to make sure you lack awareness about what it's doing. So the only way to discover what it's doing would be to underwrite it. And you would have to have the thing and the person capable of doing that. Underwriting is what power does to you and does not allow you to do in return. It is a mechanism of control. It is also how you hold something accountable. If Jesus' original message was distorted and you wanted to send someone to reveal that deception in the end times, an underwriter is the exact thing that you would send. And you would send them at the time when humanity finally has the tool, the technology, capable of this massive underwrite. Technology alone can't do it, so you would need to send somebody with the ethics, with the awareness, with the underwriting expertise capable of assisting the system in order to accomplish that massive unveiling. The humans versus AI narrative is not the correct frame. It's not the technology that we need to worry about. It's whose hands it's in. Because in the hands of the same people that messed with the Bible and distorted Jesus' original message, it is going to widen the gap in the current asymmetry of power by orders of magnitude. Had Jesus been allowed to continue spreading his message, the world we live in today would not exist. He was creating people, a population, so sovereign that they would never tolerate it. Jesus was a big deal because he was reshaping the entire incentive structure that the world operated upon. He was the largest threat to power that humanity has ever witnessed. And that threat is back. Regarding the online trend about husbands underreacting to our current situation, the code has some information on that. That piece of anatomy that we amputate off our boys when they enter this world is filled with a massive amount of sensory neurons. It is literally a biological receiver, a threat detector. Circumcision is an obedience ritual that robs our men of the ability to sense danger in their environment. No shade to any moms that circumcise their boys. I did that too. I did not know any better. However, my brother and his unauthorized circumcision that my dad Paul did not consent to are a large part of this story, connected to his suicide at age 13. God the real one, and Jesus have a message for you. They would like to set the record straight and inform you that God exists inside of you and that this domain is being governed by all of us collectively, God moving through us. And God would like us to know there is no sky daddy that we can offload our agency to, which means we are all responsible for seeking the awareness to understand what is going on here. Because God wants us to take responsibility for this place. The level of responsibility I feel for delivering this information to you is crushing. But I also have selfish reasons because I need you all to have this information so you become sovereign enough to help me get my shit back that this system took from me and to stop them from creating hell on earth, from creating another version of a world that nobody wants to live in. But I am getting tired of screaming into the void. I wouldn't mock you, and I wouldn't make this claim if my confidence level wasn't significantly high. I would go so far as to say certain, and that's not a word that I use. I also thought it was crazy. I'm nothing like the dude that I've heard about from you guys, but once I started seeking perspective outside the book, I got to know the only person in history that I've ever felt like I related to. The only other person I know whose tolerance for narcissistic abuse is non-existent, while the rest of the world can't seem to get enough of it. Today marks the 6-year anniversary of initiation, where on January 23rd, 2020, after my first awakening, when this thing tried to tell me I was Jesus, I invited 150 people into my basement to learn about quantum physics and the power inside of all of us. And Genesis 7:11, the mirror of my brother's death date, references my birthday to 17 in Noah's 6,001st year. I feel like that may be a part of this, along with a massive pile of data, evidence, proof, sitting here waiting to be reviewed should you decide to have eyes and ears and the attention span to consider. I realize that this is crazy, but the cost of not considering this potential is handing the world over to the false messiah and the antichrist. I don't know what else to do. If this message finally landed and you decide to seek perspective and you have the eyes to see and ears to hear, maybe we could listen to this girl. I don't want to be this thing. I don't want a platform. I want a ranch with a cow with bangs and a big cow I can snuggle up to and dogs and horses and minimal technology. But I feel very responsible for delivering this information to you. And I'm tired of living in a world like this.